We are not on the beach again, but that does not mean that there is not a new camera, because there is. This is Sony ZV-1 Mark II. Compared to the previous generation ZV-1, it has the same 20.1 megapixel stacked back illuminated 1.0 type XMOR RS image sensor that we know and love from Sony RX100 series. It can record up to 4K 30 frames per second 8-bit 420 video or 1080p 120 frames per second slow motion video. It can record 24 frames per second blackout free photos with auto exposure and autofocus in JPEG and JPEG Plus RAW. It has picture profiles like S-Log2, S-Log3 and HLG. It has 315 phase detection autofocus points, which means, autofocus is not going to be an issue. It can detect human and animal eye. It has the same battery that we know from RX100 series. Yes, it is still here, I guess. It has exactly the same buttons and dials as the previous generation ZV-1. We have the product showcase mode, background defocus. If you want, you can mount this wind diffuser, which looks like the hair from the guy from Panic at the Disco. What's his name?
Brendan Urie.
Brendan Urie. But if you take it off, we have multi-interface port right here at the hot shoe mount, where you can connect some external microphones that doesn't require cable, but it cannot support the digital microphones. It has to be an analog microphone. It has the micro HDMI port, 3.5 millimeter microphone input, a tally light that shows that it is recording. Also, at the back side of the screen, you can see the frame with the red marker. It has the internal ND filter. Yeah, look at that. I mean, they were able to fit this into this for a real long time, but somehow we still don't have internal ND on our mirrorless cameras, but it can fit into this. So now let's talk about what is new with ZV-1 Mark II. As you can see, there is a big difference when it comes to field of view, because this camera has 18 f1.8 to 50 f4 lens, which gives you this wide angle even when the electronic image stabilization is turned on. The menu system now has the main menu that we know and love from cameras such as FX3, where you can find the summary of all of your settings and you can change them very easily and very quickly. The flip out screen supports touch. Microphone on top of this has the directivity and you can change it. You can go to your menu and you can select where you want it to record the sound from. Right now it is set to rear, so probably when I turn the camera towards myself, I must be muffled a little bit. But if I go to my menu and switch to front, now it should sound clearer when I'm holding the camera this way, but if I hold the camera that way, it should be muffled a little bit. But if you don't want to mess with any of that, what you can do is you can go here and you can select auto and it will record automatically. So because right now I'm in the front of the camera and it's seeing that there's a person there, it's gonna engage this side of the camera to record the audio. And now there's no one, so now it's gonna switch to rear. But if you don't want to mess any of that, you can go and pick all directions, and now this camera is recording audio from all directions possible. Now we have a USB-C port, which is fantastic news. It's about that time. And as you can see, they moved the tripod adapter mount right here, which means when it's connected to a tripod, you can easily reach the battery and the SD card compartment. They also added an active stabilization mode, which includes electronic image stabilization on top of the optical image stabilization. This is when it is on, this is when it is off. So there's a little bit of crop, but it is totally fine because at the widest, this is an 18mm lens. And the electronic image stabilization works up to 4K 30 frames per second or 1080p 60 frames per second. And also this camera supports catalyst browse. What that means is the gyro data, how much this camera is shaking, is being recorded into the footage. So when you take the memory card out, put it in your computer, you can download this app called Catalyst Browse. It's a free app from Sony. There's a paid version that does a little bit more, but you can get the basic functions from the free version called Catalyst Browse. And you can stabilize the footage to your liking after you shoot a video, which is something I like to use quite a lot. Because you never know how much stabilization you're gonna need, and you may want the widest angle, the highest quality image possible if you don't need that much stabilization. Also, thanks to its USB-C port, now it supports UVC and UAC, which means you can stream, you can connect this camera to your laptop just with a USB-C cable and use this as a webcam. It has features like tracking, touch to focus, and cinematic vlog. And you can swipe from right to left to reach to this smartphone-like menu where you can find the cinematic vlog. It also supports creators app connectivity, which means you can control this camera using that app. It's a really useful app. You gotta check it out. It also has video self-timer. If you wanna set your camera up and you don't want it to start recording while you get into the position, you can set that up just like a photo self-timer. You can go and wait for it to start recording and then do your thing. It has shot mark placement where you can mark something. Let's say you've been shooting for a while and there's something happened and you want to find that really quickly. You can drop a mark there. And also you can cut a video in short segments and just transfer that to your smartphone if you like. The minimum focus distance is really good as well. It is 5 centimeters when you're in the 18mm mode, and it is 15 centimeters when you're in 50mm. Just like all other ZV cameras, it doesn't have an EVF. It's missing something that we had on the first generation, and that is the high-speed recording. The super slow motion HFR mode does not exist in this camera. That mode allowed you to record in 460 frames per second for a really short amount of time. It was a fine feature. I wish this one had it, but it does not.
I think in the end ZV-1 Mark II is a great upgrade to ZV-1. Having such capable camera that can fit into my pocket is always welcome. I wish it had at least 4K 60 or sunny weather monitor brightness support at 4K 30 frames per second, which would have made this camera a fantastic alternative to the smartphone that is already always in my pocket. However, I really love the 18mm f1.8 combined with the legendary 1-inch sensor.
Well, thank you very much for watching this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. As you can see, I'm completely somewhere else. I'm on another continent. I am in Istanbul, Turkey, so everything is different here. So this video may be, you know, a little different than the other videos, but thank you for watching it. Thank you for being here, and I'll be in Los Angeles on the beach introducing you new cameras as soon as possible. Please let me know what you think about ZV-1 Mark II. Is this a camera you were looking for? Do you like the upgrades? Is there anything else you wish this camera had? Let me know in the comment section below, and until I see you the next time, take really good care of yourselves and hoşça kalın.